Blackwood Academy looked peaceful at night. Old brick buildings, tall iron gates, perfect lawns trimmed like nothing bad had ever happened there. But locals avoided walking past it after midnight. Not because of rumors, because of the lights. They turned on by themselves every night at exactly 3 a.m. Ethan had just started working security 2 weeks ago. Night shift, 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. Easy job, they said. Just patrol the dorms, the main academic hall, and the gymnasium. Don't worry about the East Wing, the headmaster told him on his first day. It's under renovation. But Ethan noticed something strange. There were no construction sounds, no workers. And yet the East Wing lights were always on after 3 a.m. At 2:55 a.m., Ethan sat in the security office watching camera feeds. Everything normal. Dorm halls are quiet, library empty, campus grounds are still. At exactly 3 a.m., every monitor flickered, then switched. All screens displayed the same hallway, the East Wing corridor, but the East Wing cameras were disconnected. He was sure of it. He checked the labels. They all read, Live Feed. East Wing. The hallway lights on the screen were on, for bright, and at the far end, a locker door slowly creaked open. Ethan leaned closer to the monitor. Probably a glitch, he muttered. Then the intercom crackled. A child's voice whispered,
Sir, someone's in my room.
Ethan froze. Blackwood Academy was a private boarding school, but students were sent home for summer break. The campus was empty. He grabbed his flashlight and headed toward the East Wing. The main hallway lights flickered as he approached. The air felt colder. The East Wing door had a heavy chain on it, locked, just like every night. But tonight, the chain was lying neatly on the floor, like someone had carefully removed it. The door was slightly open. He pushed it wider. The corridor lights buzzed overhead. Clean, fresh, like the wing had never been abandoned. Rows of lockers lined the walls, student artwork still pinned to corkboards. Everything looked recent. Ethan walked slowly down the hall. His boots echoed too loudly. At the far end, a locker door was open. Inside, a school uniform hung neatly, name stitched on the chest. Ethan, his stomach tightened. He had never attended Blackwood Academy. He grew up in another state. He was sure of it. The intercom crackled again.
Sir, he's outside my door.
The voice sounded closer now, desperate. Ethan turned sharply. Every locker door in the hallway had opened. Slowly, in perfect unison. Inside each locker, a pair of shoes, polished, facing outward. As if someone was standing inside, waiting to step out. The lights flickered violently, then shut off. Darkness swallowed the corridor. His flashlight beam cut through the black, and that's when he saw them. Students, standing silently along both walls, uniforms crisp, faces pale, eyes wide and unblinking. They weren't moving, but they weren't statues either. They were breathing, slowly, all staring at him. Ethan's throat went dry.
Where are your parents?
He whispered. One student stepped forward, a girl no older than 10. Her head tilted slightly.
We don't leave.
She said calmly. The hallway behind Ethan stretched longer, much longer, like the corridor was expanding. The exit door was now impossibly far away. The lockers began slamming shut one by one. Boom, boom, boom. The students didn't blink, didn't flinch, just stared. Then all of them smiled, the same wide smile, perfectly synchronized. The gymnasium lights suddenly turned on, bright white through the hallway windows. Ethan ran toward it, pushed through the double doors. Inside, the bleachers were filled, hundreds of students seated neatly, watching the center of the court. On the polished wood floor, a single desk and a chair. The headmaster stood beside it. But he looked different. Older, taller, eyes hollow and sunken. "You're late," the headmaster said calmly. "For what?" Ethan whispered. "For enrollment." The students began clapping slowly, soft, rhythmic. The headmaster gestured toward the desk. On it sat a contract, paper yellowed with age. Ethan saw his name written at the top, but the date was strange. It read, September 3rd, 1998. He was only 8 years old in 1998,
I never signed that.
he said. The headmaster smiled wider. "You did." Memories flooded Ethan's mind. A childhood memory he had buried. Getting lost during a road trip, wandering into an old campus building, a kind man offering him water, asking him to write his name. He had written it. On a blank piece of paper, the headmaster leaned closer. "You never left." The gymnasium lights shut off. Total darkness. The clapping stopped. Silence. Then a bell rang, loud, piercing, school bell, echoing endlessly. The lights returned. The gym was empty. Bleachers dusty. Court cracked. No desk, no contract. Ethan stood alone. His radio crackled.
"Security, report your status."
He looked down at himself. His uniform was gone, replaced by a student blazer, the Blackwood Academy crest stitched over the pocket. He ran to the nearest mirror in the hallway. His reflection stared back. Younger, much younger. School uniform perfectly fitted, eyes wide, afraid. Behind him in the reflection, the students filled the hallway again. But in real life, the corridor was empty. The reflection version of Ethan turned slowly toward the students, even though real Ethan didn't move. The reflection smiled. Wide, too wide. The school bell rang again, and everything went black. The school bell didn't stop ringing. It grew louder, deeper, not metallic anymore. It sounded like something massive breathing through rusted lungs. Ethan tried to cover his ears, but his hands wouldn't move. They were stiff, cold. He looked down. His fingers were turning pale, plastic, glossy, his skin tightening across his knuckles. "No," he whispered. The headmaster stepped closer in the darkness. "You signed the enrollment form," he said softly, "and enrollment is permanent." The gymnasium lights snapped on, but they weren't white, they were red. Every student stood from the bleachers in perfect synchronization. Ethan was dragged to an empty seat in the front row. A nameplate materialized on the desk. Ethan, security transfer. He tried to look down, to close his eyes, but he couldn't, because he no longer had eyelids. The headmaster wrote something on the blackboard. The chalk screeched, but instead of letters, it wrote names. One by one, new names appearing, as if being added in real time. The headmaster smiled. "We grow every year." Liam, a reliever for Ethan, arrived at Blackwood Academy 15 minutes early. First night, new job. He expected a proper handover. Night shift guards usually brief each other. Camera blind spots, patrol timing, weird maintenance issues. The security office door was unlocked, lights on, monitors glowing, but the chair behind the desk was empty, still slightly turned, like someone had just stood up. Liam stepped inside slowly. "Ethan?" he called out. No answer. The room was warm. A half-empty coffee cup sat on the desk. steam no longer rising, but still lukewarm when he touched it. Next to it lay a clipboard, patrol log filled out neatly. Last entry, 2:55 a.m. East Wing secure. Liam checked his watch. 3 a.m. That was 5 minutes ago. His stomach tightened. The radio on the desk suddenly crackled. Not loud, just enough to make him flinch. Unit 12. Report. Liam picked up the radio. This is Liam. I'm covering Ethan's shift. Static. Then silence. He looked at the monitors. Everything normal. Dorm hallway empty. Library dark. Gym lights off. Then one camera flickered. East Wing corridor. Bright lights. Open lockers. Liam checked the camera list. East Wing cameras were disabled. Maintenance tag dated 3 years ago. He slowly sat in Ethan's chair. It was still warm. He noticed something carved faintly into the wooden desk surface. Not scratched, carved deep. 4 words. Don't trust the bell. Liam leaned back. At exactly 3 a.m., the school bell rang. Long, low, echoing through the campus, and on the main monitor, he saw Ethan, standing in the East Wing hallway, wearing a student uniform, not moving. Then the screen went black. When it came back, the hallway was empty. Liam swallowed, and he realized something else. The employee logbook on the shelf didn't list Ethan as resigned. It listed him as transferred, internal, and there was no department name next to it. Just a blank space. Waiting. If you ever work a night shift and building feels too quiet, check the cameras carefully, because sometimes the missing employee isn't missing. They're just transferred. Subscribe if you dare.